Layer 2. When you are finished with your first layer, you want to think about what else you still have to add to your picture, and you want to take an overall look at it and see maybe what areas need to be darker, what other kind of color you want to add. We'll really focus on adding things like texture and detail more with our second day of painting, but if you really have a lot accomplished, you can even think about some of those things today. So with my second layer, I might want to consider beginning to add at least the base of my tree. I might want to change the colors of my land slightly. I might also want to begin to add some clouds up here. So there's a lot of different things that I can work on with my second layer. If I want to work on the tree, I want to switch to one of my smaller paintbrushes. And maybe I'm going to mix up sort of a nice chromatic neutral. So maybe I want to mix some brown and blue together for a nice warm gray. You can always test your colors on your sketch paper. So I kind of like that color for my tree trunk. And since my painting underneath is dry, my paint isn't shifting everywhere and it's pretty easy to control. So I can basically just draw with my paintbrush. Since I'm using my smaller brush and my smaller brush is the flat brush, not the round, it's a little bit hard to get it as fine of a line I want, but I can still hold it and use the tip. I could also use the brush that came in my kit. That's another option also. Ultimately, I think I would want to add even more branches to my tree. But for now, this is maybe a really good start. Other areas that I want to work on with my second layer, I want to use my large brush again to maybe add some more clouds. So I have some clouds in my sketch here. Sometimes clouds appear lighter than the relative sky. Sometimes they might even seem somewhat darker than the sky close to them. It sort of just depends on the lighting conditions and our perspective. So we're really allowed to be kind of loose with this watercolor painting. It doesn't have to be 100% perfectly realistic. It's more just a chance for us to experience the watercolor and paint with some different techniques. I think to make my sky and my ground look more unified, I might need to add some of this blue color from my nighttime sky into my layers of hills. So I might add a layer of dark blue wash over top of the base color that I've already achieved. Sometimes adding layers of color on top of each other will disrupt the lower one. Sometimes you can avoid that. Really, again, we're more experimenting and learning with this project. So I don't expect anyone's watercolor to be perfect. It's more about practicing and trying our best. So I've sort of lost some of the definition between this mountain ridge and this mountain ridge. Maybe I'll want to go back and add that in a later layer of my painting. But I do think adding my hue of blue, which I'm also neutralizing with a little bit of brown so it's not too vibrant, is making my painting look more unified as a whole. because before I felt like the sky and the ground didn't really go together. So you can also think about the overall color story that your painting is telling. And this is a good chance, again, to take chances, explore, and try different things. So I accidentally lifted some of the paint up here a little bit too much, but that's okay. Once this layer dries, I can go back and I can add maybe some more intentional texture in my foremost area of mountain. If I want, I could even look at my reference photo and see if the moon is highlighting a certain part of these mountains, and maybe part of one side of them would be darker with like a shadow. If we did have that, we could draw it. And again, we're just looking for other parts of our sketch that we maybe haven't included yet, or adding more layers of wash to try and experiment with some different colors and things like this.